Talk with Odun. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Okay, let me put a bit of life into this. Hi, how are you all doing? Sorry. We'll be back. Uncle Josh. Hello everyone and welcome to Real Talk with and we are so excited to be coming your way this afternoon, and we are just going to go straight right into it. Today we are having my story. Some of you that are familiar with the show is familiar with the My Story mini series, and we have someone who is ready to come share our story of abuse with us. Now, few days ago there was a story on social media about someone called Iberi that that died. She didn't die of natural causes. It was not an accident. She was not sick. She was actually burnt alive by her husband. And these stories, even though they are horrific, they saddens me when something like this happened to someone that is like me, that could have actually lived. Even though in as much as we don't want to support divorce or rate at which abuse is going, still hear stories of someone being killed now, and at least hopefully it didn't end in a bad way, saying that so thing happened. At least we thank God for on TV or on Nollywood, they're actually happening. And even though it's sad, it's just the inhumanity of man to man. Now, abuse, I always say, is not peculiar to man. It's not just men that abused women. We also have men that are being abused by women, sorry. And hopefully today, we will learn the mistakes to avoid. We will learn how to move on after you've been maybe experienced an abuse or something similar. So I'm going to disappear for a minute because basically it's about Tosin. And not fall into the same error that she found herself in. And I'm going to say welcome to the show, Tosin. Hello, Tosin.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
You're welcome. Okay, so Tosin Ayeni has been on the show before. Was on the show.
Yes, I have.
Yes, and we appreciate your time. The last time, we appreciate your time now as well. So can you just go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, my name I'm a lawyer. I have 2 kids. I'm also a real estate consultant. Run an NGO called Hadassah Support Foundation, and yeah, God has been helping us, and we've been doing a lot of great exploits, basically.
All right, thank you so much, and well done.
Domestic violence survivors and victims.
All right, thank you so much. Can you still hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. Let's start from the beginning. How did it all started?
Okay. From the beginning, let me see. 2012, I met my ex-husband in 2012. Right after early 2012, right after I came back from NYSC. Yes, so we met in church. Apparently, I had been going to the church. It was my parents' church. My dad was a pastor in the church. So, I mean, it's a church we had been going to right from when I was an undergrad in university. And he was also in church, a worker in church. But we never had that kind of interaction. But after I came back from even though my dad was a pastor in the church, we the children, because we were undergrads in school, we had our own fellowship or churches that we were going to. You know how it is now. But somehow after NYSC, I decided that okay, let me stay here in this church and take things seriously, be a worker, and serve God here. And okay, so that's exactly what happened. So I decided to join the workforce, and I joined the youth department, the youth fellowship rather, youth fellowship, and I can't remember what role I was, but I was in the youth fellowship. And that particular time we were about to have an event, and basically, and somehow we were paired together to work on a particular project, and that was how we started talking. So so I had known him in church, but we were not talking. But we started talking 2012, early 2012. We started talking early 2012, and let's say late 2011 into 2012. Then of course, we were talking regularly in relationship.
Okay.
But somehow, at that time, the guy I was dating at the time, we were practically like age mates, kind of. So he wasn't ready, and meanwhile, I had given myself like a timeline. I want to get married at age 26. I'd given myself that timeline already. So, and I was 25 at the time, and he was 26 at the time, but he wasn't ready to get married. And I really liked him, but I wanted to get married, and he wasn't ready. So somehow, the devil started putting all kinds of thoughts in my head. And I met this guy in church, eligible bachelor, eligible bachelor, and he was ready to settle down, and we were getting close, friends and all that. So I don't know, somehow I just made up some form of, how it is now when the lady
excuse to break up with that one. Yeah, I know.
Yes, exactly. So that's exactly what happened. So broke up the relationship with the guy I was with at the time, and I started dating with my ex-husband. Okay. So so we dated all through 2012. We started dating late 2012, all through 2013. We got married in 2013. So we dated for say a year.
Okay.
A year.
Okay. All right then. Thank you for.
Should I continue?
Yeah, you're free. But I just for us before we go on, I just want to appreciate those online. Thank you so much for joining the minstrel. Shola, thank you, XT Queen. Thank you, Ame. Thank you so much, Fade Olumoyiwa, KG Salau, Tiana. Thank you all. Bola, thank you for joining. So after that introduction, how did it progress to, you said you got married in 2013, right? So was he bad all along, or was he good? What are the things that made you say, okay, this is the person I'm going to spend the rest of my life with?
Okay, really, I don't know. People ask me this all the time, that did I ever see any red flags? I must have seen something. I did not see anything. But, you know, after I got out, and in retrospect, the things that I thought were not red flags were actually red flags. So I'll just go through it one after the other. Okay, so while we were dating, he used to be very all.
Hello.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Hello?
I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you. That's why.
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Hello?
Line has gone off. I can't hear you.
I can hear you. I can hear you. Can you hear me? We speak live into Niger Network in Jesus' name. Just like Ahmed said before the show started, she actually prayed and she said, we bind every network issue this night in Jesus' name. So we join our faith with each and every one of you to say, no bad network today. Can you hear me, Tosin? Hello? Okay, they actually said they can hear both of us, but obviously Tosin cannot hear me, and I think she's gone. So let's wait and see if she will come back. Thank you, Biola, for that feedback. Ooh. Let's hope. Thank you. Can you hear me now? Okay, that's good.
Yes, I can. Okay, so I don't know, I can't remember my stop. Okay,
you stopped where you started dating, yeah.
Yes, so while we were dating, he was he used to be all over me. Like, okay, I used to run an event management company at the time. So I was just starting, but I mean, I had a couple of jobs that I was doing. So when we were dating, he would close from work early in the morning. He would close from work late after work. If I had a job, he would follow me, take me to, if I needed to meet vendors, he would take me there. He would bring me back home. It was basically like all up in my face, like in my space, every time he was free. And at the time, I thought, okay, I felt, okay, this guy probably just really loves me and can't get enough of my,
your presence,
of me, and just always wants, my presence, exactly, and just always wants us to be together. We must really be in love. Yeah, but in retrospect now, it just showed that he was a bit possessive. And you don't want me to share my time with any other person, It was either I was with him or I was at home. That's at night,
Wow.
Then even at night, then we used to there used to be all these midnight calls. We used to do midnight calls a lot. I was practically not sleeping. And at the time, yes, I felt we're in love. He's in love, I'm in love. But it just later on, it just shows someone who also wants to control your time, control everything about you, even control your sleep pattern.
Wow.
Forget that. There are people who are in love, real love, and they but it was every day. I didn't see it as anything at the time because I was
you were enjoying it
love,
then.
But in retrospect, those are one of exactly. Those are one of the signs that I mean, your spouse, your partner should be able to give you some space to be yourself, to be with other people, to have friends. It's not like he said I shouldn't have friends, but I didn't even have time to hang out with my friends. We were always together.
Yeah.
And so there were no signs really. There were no signs. No signs.
Okay.
No signs. The time we had some disagreements, and when we had disagreements, it would be me. Did I say flaring up? No, I won't. I don't flare up, but it will be me basically reacting.
Acting out. You think you were acting out then?
Disagreement. Yes, it will be me that will be reacting. He won't react. He will just be quiet. He will just be cooking. He will be the one to apologize. So there were really, really no red flags per se at the time. But okay, yeah. Then another thing is that okay. So we started dating 2012, early 2012, thereabouts, and by February he was saying we should get married in June. I didn't see that as a red flag, but it is a red flag. I mean, the rushing, the love bombing was serious. It was serious. Yeah, I just saw it as somebody who was just alone, and just could not wait for us to be husband and wife. So in fact, when you suggested in June, I actually jumped at it. I was like, yeah, let's do it in June. Let's get married in June. I told my parents. And my parents are like, no. This is too fast. June is too early. You guys should get to know each other more and all of that. So we moved the wedding to September of 2013. We moved the wedding to September of 2013. So yeah, but I mean, we dated for like a year, and that was it. So now the only time that I ever saw him flare up and react and call me names, which was the very first time in our pre-wedding period, was the wedding eve, our wedding eve. So you can imagine.
Wow. Our
wedding eve. That was the first time, and I mean, for me, that was like already late. Wedding eve. Okay, what happened? We were trying to get, how it is now, the eve before the wedding, everybody's trying to organize. I was trying to organize bridesmaids. He was organizing his guys, and we were supposed to lodge in a hotel. So I was doing all of that, running around. I wasn't in my phone. So like towards night time, I eventually now picked my phone, and I saw like almost like 20 missed calls from him. So as soon as I took the phone and I called him back. This was just saying, I was just about to say, sorry, I'm just seeing your missed calls. I'm so sorry, blah blah blah. As soon as I dialed his number and he picked the call, and the first thing I can't even remember, but like it was insults.
Wow.
Insults, barrage of insults. And I'm like, what? I've never seen this side of it before. It was confusing for me at the time. I started crying. I started crying immediately. I was like, what is this? Why would you do this? Now, like a day before the wedding. Why now? If I had seen this like way, even while we were planning the wedding, if I had seen it like way before, I mean, I would have thought so. What was the day before the wedding? And so as usual, kept going on and on, insults, this one, that one. And then he said, and then later he now apologized that it was the stress of wedding stress and all of that. He's sorry, it won't happen again. Well, that was the first time it ever happened, and of course, as soon as we got married, we continued almost immediately.
Immediately. So the abuse started as soon as you got married.
Yes.
So in your own opinion, what do you think triggered the abuse? What do you think caused the abuse? Was there really something that you did? Have you ever thought that what did I do something wrong? Did I say something wrong?
Did I do? Okay, when people ask me this question, what I, when I say things like, I didn't do anything, it sounds like you must be lying. No, you must have done something. The truth of the matter is, a true case of abuse with maybe a narcissistic person, you don't have to do anything. This is just somebody. Okay, I like to give this illustration, like a bully in school, secondary school, primary school. When a bully picks on a particular student, a child, they actually pick on somebody who is calm, quiet, gentle, that they can really ride. So the bullied person doesn't really have to do anything for the bully to bully him or her. You understand? So actually, a true case of abuse, the victim doesn't have to do anything. So I say it again and again. I did not do anything. I'm not a troublemaker. I'm not somebody who likes trouble. As a matter of fact, I try as much as possible to stay away from confrontation. I don't like confrontation because I don't know how to. I would rather
avoid it.
Let's sit down and discuss. But I don't like confrontation at all. I like to avoid. I like my peace. So when people ask me that question, I say I didn't do anything. There's nothing I did. There was nothing I did to warrant the abuse. It was just a case of somebody who just loved drama, who just loved to bully and to pick on. Yeah. So and then maybe one thing that I did not. One thing that is it a regret? In that one mistake that I made was not to back.
Not to what? Sorry, we lost you there.
So, how you would get a bully to stay back or to step back from bullying you is to come at the bully with a higher form of attack, kind of. Let me put it that way. In that sense, a higher form of attack. Either maybe you call your parents, or you call your mom, or you call your big brother, or something like that. So, but in this case, I didn't do anything. Each time because it started with verbal abuse. Each time there was verbal abuse, I would cry. I'm not somebody who knows how to abuse. I don't know how to insult. So I would cry and cry and cry. And that alone practically would, there's no how it would encourage the bully. Like a bully sees you crying because I bullied you. It will encourage him. It will make him feel, big, feel, powerful. It will empower the bully. So basically that's what happened. And that's one thing I regret. So when someone asks me what are your mistakes, that's the only mistake I would say.
That you didn't attack it earlier enough. Okay, thank you for that. So a lot of people actually agree with you. Someone said they said there might never be any trigger. Some men just like to bully. Another person said an abuser is an abuser, trigger or not. Someone else said, seriously, I think even if she did something abusing the person, even if she did something like abusing the person, the next step is not to eat her. So let's go into that. When did the abuse actually started? I'm talking about the physical abuse. Can you tell us the first time that happened and what caused it?
Okay, the physical abuse started. It started about 2 months or 3 months into the marriage rather. 2 months or 3 months into the marriage. So we had, you know, it is when after you get married, you go on honeymoon, then you come back and come and do Thanksgiving in church. Like about, I think a month after or 2 months after. Yeah, so we came, that was on the Thanksgiving Sunday in church. And I remember I mean, like I mentioned earlier, this church was the church that my dad was pastoring in. So, I mean, after service, he was a worker in the church. We were still going to my parents' church. He was a worker in the church, and I was pastor's daughter, and also a worker. You know, so we're greeting people. You know, after service, everybody wants me to say congratulations and all of that. So we were done with greeting people. He was done, and then he went into the car to go and wait. And of course, it's my family, my family, my siblings, my mom, my dad. They were there, so I was also, you know, we were still relating and all of that. So it wasn't up to 10 minutes, maybe about 5 minutes or so. He was in the car waiting. So I left. I stopped. I left between my family, and I went into the car where he was parked, and you know, he was parked in front of the church. So what happened was that he drove say about a minute or 2 minutes after the church auditorium and parked and said, why did I keep him waiting in the car? Okay, but meanwhile, at the time when I entered this, I was like, sorry for keeping waiting. I mean, normal. Sorry for keeping waiting. I wanted to wait. I was getting, you know, my folks. So he drove like about 2 minutes after church auditorium and parked and was like, why did I keep him waiting in the car? That I don't have the respect, I don't have the, you know, and I'm like, I already told you sorry now. When I came, I already told you sorry for keeping waiting. He's like, no, I don't have respect, you know, and then he started going on and on, you know. Then I don't know, I'll say, you left for, let me speak to you, but you left for me, or taking it, you know, saying all kinds of things. And I'm like, that you should take it easy now, that I already told you sorry. I already told you sorry. Yeah, sorry again. You know, just normal. Next thing he says I should get down from the car. I'm like, yeah. Now what I think, I don't understand. He said, get down from the car. And then he came down from the car, turned to the passenger side, opened the door and dragged me out of the car. And, you know, he shut the door and drove off. Me, I was still thinking that maybe he's going to come back. Did not come back. So I stood on the road and I was practically like looking around at him. The whole church members did not see what happened just now like this. No, anyway, so I took I had like some money on me, so I just took a taxi home. So I got to the house and I met him at the gate. He was parked at the gate. Apparently he was waiting for me to come back and come and open the gate for him. I picked the key and I opened the gate. He drove in, I shut the gate and I went in, I picked my bags and I went into the house. You know, I didn't see anything. Of course, I was upset. I didn't see anything, so I was, you know, just trying to organize lunch, just acting. You know how when somebody is upset now, you're acting upset. You know, so I was doing all of that. And then he was pacing. And then he comes and said, won't I say anything about what happened? I said, I don't understand. You left me on the road. What do you want me to say? You left me on the road. If I didn't have any cash on me, how would I have gotten home? You left me on the road. So I don't know what you want me to say about what happened. If anything, if you want to apologize to me, I apologize to you for keeping you, you know, waiting. And he says, you know, of course, going on. Started again, he did the install. And then I was like, it's okay, thank you. I want to cook. Let me prepare lunch. No, you're not preparing lunch. You're not started dragging me. And then now says he's going to slap me if I don't do what I'm supposed to do. I don't understand, you know. So, you know, and then the way it is, you don't even have to even be talking back at people. It's like a self-provocative. They provoke from the inside, you know. So, you know, he started getting provoked, and then he just gave me a slap. You know, that was the first time. That was the first time, you know.
And that was your wedding
That was
Thanksgiving
when the
day.
Calabi started. Wedding Thanksgiving day. So, you know, I just stood there and I started crying that, hi, God, I've entered one chance today. I've entered just one chance. And I started crying. And then, you know,
Wow.
he didn't even apologize. I don't think he apologized. But, you know, somehow, when these things happen, you just not maybe talk for like some days, then maybe like a week or 2 weeks after, he will come and
And things
say,
went back to normal
hey, let's
again.
talk. Let's talk. Yes. You understand? So basically, that was when it started. You know, that was when meanwhile, before then, he had been doing, you know, he graduated. I told you he started with verbal abuse. So the verbal abuse graduated into shoving, pushing, dragging, you know, push you out of the way, that kind of thing, before this slap started. And of course,
Oh, okay. So he has actually been pushing you and
slap,
shoving you before the slap.
Yeah, pushing, shoving, yeah, dragging, before the slap now happened. So after the slap, of course, it graduated to the next level, to the higher level.
So, someone is asking that, is he older than you? Is he very much older than you?
Not very much. He was just 3 years older than me.
Oh, yes. Wow.
He's 3 years older than me.
Wow.
Yeah.
So after that first slap, what step did you take? What did you do? Did you like try to hold them accountable or get help? Because usually, I think I need to say that when the first slap never stops. When they start with the slap the first time, it's going to get worse. At least from the stories that I've had, once they slap you the first time, it doesn't like stop, it get worse. So did you do anything? Did you try to talk to anybody to try to get help, or to like, you know, what steps did you take after that first slap?
I didn't do anything. The only thing I did was to cry. I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything really. It just, you know, so that's one of the mistakes that I made. Because I didn't do anything. I just let it slide. Yeah. Gave him and apologized, and I just let it slide. Yeah. But of course,
did he apologize?
Because I did not do anything. Yeah, the kind of apology that comes with buy you some dresses, not like I'm sorry, but like you will just come and bring stuff for you, like clothes, like shoes, that kind of indirect apology.
Okay. So after the slap, what happened? Where was the next one? Was it like few weeks after? Was it like a year after? Or what triggered the next one?
The next one was, I was pregnant.
Wow.
So, okay, the next one that happened, of course, in between there has been, there's always, verbal abuse is like usually on a daily occurrence.
Oh, wow.
Then,
are you serious?
We didn't have.
So it was eating you every day?
We didn't have any. No, verbal abuse.
The verbal abuse.
Abuse.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a cycle. You know, some periods there's abuse, some periods things are okay, some periods, you know. So it was like that till my first child, my son was born. Yeah, he was born. He was about 3 months old, thereabout. 3 months. Yeah, he was 3 months old. What happened? I know. Okay, so I told you I was doing events management. I was running an event management company. So, and I mean, after we got married, I was still running the company. He used to, you know, I had like some jobs. There was time I had some jobs in Ibadan. He would take me to Ibadan. We would do jobs together, you know. And so one day he just came and said, this event management business you're doing, it's a bit stressful. You're pregnant, and then you have a baby. It's stressful. Let's try and do a business that that will be less stressful, number one, and something that would be like a joint business, like a joint business, like a joint business, joint company. Let's all make and grow and pass on to our children. I mean, at the time, it sounded like a brilliant idea, and of course, I jumped on it and I said, okay, no problem. So, what business can we do? And before we got married, I discussed with him that I wanted to. I really like things to do with children, like an after-school home kind of. And he said, okay, let's try that, the after-school home thing that you talked about. You can build up a business, maybe grow it into a school and all of that. I said, okay, no problem. So the plan was to go and do some form of training with them. There was this school in Omole Estate at the time, the Montessori school, and they so it was to do some form of like an IT kind of there. They now do Montessori training. So we started I stopped my company, event management company, and we started working towards this other business idea. Of course, in retrospect now, that's after I left, I realized that you see all of that idea of stop your business, let's do a joint business.
Yeah, it was stripping you of your power.
Because we wanted some form of control.
Yeah.
Yes, some form of control. Of course, in my business, we really do not have that much control over my funds or over the business, over the stuff that I make. But if it's a joint thing, you will have
control over
it. Yeah. So, but at the time, I didn't see it that way. I just thought, okay, we were trying to build a family together and all of that. So, so I started the IT with the school in Omole Estate, and I've been running it for a while already. I've been going back and forth for a while. By the way, we used to stay in Akute. We used to stay in Lambe. Lambe is like after Akute. That's the end of Lagos State, or even Ogun State.
I think it's in Ogun State. Yeah, Lambe is actually Ogun State.
I would leave from there, Ogun State. Yes, I would leave from there every day to Omole Estate. It wasn't every day, but maybe like 3 times a week or so. But this particular day, I was almost done with the training when the proprietors of the school gave me like an assignment that I should do the assignment and then work on it together. So now the way it is in the school, you can't have teachers or anyone basically just loitering around or just sitting in the classroom or something. So I decided I would go, and there was one eatery just at the gates of Omole at the time. I don't know if it's today. But just go to that eatery and do the assignment and then take it back to her. So this was around 12. Usually I close by 2 o'clock. This was around 12 o'clock. At this time my son, I had already given birth to my son. So it was now, I used to drop him off at the crèche near the house and then come back by 2 o'clock to pick him up. So I usually close by 2, finish by 2, but this was around 12. And I was at this eatery trying to do the assignment. And then he calls and says, "Where are you?" I said, I'm at this eatery, I'm trying to work on this. And he, of course, he knew about the assignment. I'm trying to work on this assignment. And he says, "Why am I at an eatery?" Basically insinuating that I'm lying, I'm probably at the eatery meeting up with somebody or something. And he was at work. So he was really shouting on the phone. I'm like, "You should take it easy. I'm just doing this assignment." I think he saw the assignment before I left the house. I'm just trying to do it, finish it up. So I can take it back to the proprietress so that we can look at it. After all, it's too close. I close by. I still have like 2 hours to go. And he starts saying, "No, get out, stand up from there now. Start going. I'm like, "Dude, why is he shouting on the phone? You should take it easy now." He says, "Yeah, so I'm shouting, right? I'm shouting." And then he cuts the phone and then he starts sending messages. "If I come, I'm on my way now." This was around 12 o'clock. So he practically left his office. He used to work along the road. He left his office at that time and was that he will get to the house before me.
Mm-hmm.
So, and of course, knowing knowing the kind of person that he was,
That
I
is.
just packed up. So, and I packed up myself and I left, and I was, heading home. So I got to my son's request and I picked him up and I got home. You know that he got home less than 20 minutes after I got home. Less than 20 minutes after I got home. And then he comes in and he starts shouting, why would I be shouting? Why would I be talking back at him on the phone? He told me to leave the place. I did not leave the place. I'm disobedient. I'm this, I'm that. I'm not like, but you knew I had to do this assignment. You know I had to do it and I had to commit it before coming. So I don't understand where all of this is coming from. So, and I was carrying my son at the time. I was carrying him. So next thing, he starts shouting, he starts raging, and then he comes to where I was, I start shouting, and I'm like, okay, let me go and drop the boy in the court. And he starts shouting. Next thing, he snatches the boy from my hand, drops him on the floor, like on the bare floor. A 2-month-old child drops him on the bare floor and starts dragging me, especially shredded what I was putting on that day, and then started punching. That was the first time, before then it was like slap, but this was like serious punch. And I just picked my phone. Yes, I just picked my phone and I ran out and I called my mom. And I called his mom. And then I think he came outside, chased me outside. I saw that I had called somebody, and it was like I had unleashed the beast in him, and then it was my God. Anyway, so of course, my mom was not around at this time, so it was my dad that came. My dad came, his parents came, and tried to, of course, the dad tried to not reconcile, but talk to both of us, pray with us, encourage us to be more prayerful, try to reconcile us. And after my dad left, his parents were still around, and of course, now this is an opportunity for him to. So he started saying all kinds of things that did not happen. Started saying them, and I was just watching, and of course, and then his mom says I should kneel down and apologize to him.
After getting spanked.
What now? That you need to apologize to him. Like when your husband is talking to you, you have to be obedient. You have to do whatever it says. As soon as he told you to leave that place, you should have been carrying your things and be leaving immediately. You didn't ask. Anyway, I just and I apologized to him. And then, of course, when we have issues like that, there will be like some malice period. There will be some malice period of some weeks. And so, of course, we have the malice period of weeks before
it was resolved and you moved on. Okay.
Yeah, but that was the first time that I ever called him. That's the first time my friends knew. Anybody, not my friends. That's the first time anybody knew about what I was going through. And this was in 2014.
That's like a year after you got married.
Yeah, April, May, June. Yes, like June 2014.
Okay. So first, let me just say this. I'm sorry you had to go through that, Scott. I knew it got so emotional for you one time because I noticed when you broke off. But I'm sorry you had to go through that, and I want to say well done because you're still standing. So let's go to why did you leave? What made you leave? How did you get to the stage where you told yourself you had to leave?
Okay, so from the first time I received that slap, I had already known that this is a big mistake. I knew what domestic violence was. I'm a lawyer, so then in school, my final year project was on domestic violence. That's what I chose. domestic violence against women in Africa. That was my project topic, and I did it so well. So I knew what I was going through. So as soon as the slap happened, I knew that this marriage
will not
will
last.
probably not last with what has happened. I knew. So then when it graduated into the full-blown physical abuse, I had already signed out practically. I already signed out, and I was just waiting for the right time. Now at this point, that towards because I left after 2 years. At the second year, towards the end of the second year, it had already gotten to a point where the abuse had already extended to my parents.
Oh wow.
He had extended the abuse to my parents. Yes, he had extended the abuse to my siblings. So those ones, of course, just to, so I practically I cut them out. I cut them off because number one, disrespect was too much. Number two was because he also made conscious effort to cut off that relationship. That's the relationship between myself and my family. So things had already gone haywire. I was pregnant with my second, a girl. She was barely a month when I left. She was barely a month when I left. But I was at that time. So what happened? So of course, the atmosphere had already been building up, especially during the times I was about to give birth to her, and that period had already been building up with my parents, with my family, him and my family. So the atmosphere had already built up to a certain high, to the point that I knew that if I did not make a move now, something terrible was going to happen either to me or children. And what happened that day? So after, of course, during the birth of my daughter, there was a lot of drama. During the naming ceremony, there was a lot of drama. So I left the hospital and I left the hospital, moved to his parents' house. Then from there, came back home. So at home, I had a nanny at the time, and he went to there was some issues with our generator, so he went to get an engineer to come and work on it. And that one said, and the guy said they needed to get some parts, and all that. So they had to go into town. I mentioned earlier that I said we used to live in the Ogun State area. So they had to go into town to go and make some withdrawals, buy whatever it is. So me, I already understood that, okay, say in the next 1 hour they should be back. They left the gen on to be running because we hadn't had lights for some time. So the gen was running and they went to get the things. This was just like about 20 minutes after, I just sat down where I was charging. My phone was off because it was just coming up. So I just sat down where I was charging my phone. It was about to put on the phone. And I realized from where I was sitting, I could see the gate, the gate of our compound. And I could see people standing. You will see legs. So I don't told my nanny that someone was at the gate. She should go and check. So she got there and she saw that he was supposed to open the gate and they came in. Of course, I already seen that his face has changed. So the mechanic was done with what he was doing and then he left. So then he started saying, and they standing at the gate for an hour, knocking at the gate for 1 hour. And I could just move open the gate. Now what kind of disrespect is that? I'm like, he barely left. Now which one is 1 hour? He barely left. Just left. And besides, I was even calculating that you won't be back. You won't be back now. And then he starts going on and on, shouting. And I'm like, okay, sorry for being waiting outside. So I went into the room. He followed me to the room. I started shouting. left for, yeah, I must be, calling me all kinds of things. I didn't say anything. Of course, when you react, it's problem. When you
When
don't
you don't
react, it's
react, it's
problem. So I didn't
problem.
say anything, and then he comes and starts dragging. I was sitting on a night
Ah,
where my nanny was there, and starts drag me from the room to the living room, and then my nanny of course was shouting, eh, was shouting, that you should stop it. And then he just shredded my, but that
ah,
day I knew that no, this was it. I wish that I was already like at that point. So he dragged me and then gave me like a slap. He gave me a slap and I slapped him back. That was the first time I ever raised my hand to hit him. And I slapped him back and I said, if you slap me again, I will give you another slap. And he gave me another slap. And then as soon as he gave me another slap, he just shredded my dress, as in shredded my nightwear, naked from top to
ah,
bottom, and just threw me. This was, I gave birth to my daughter 6 years. So
ah,
I was still healing. So he threw me on the chair and started pouncing, and then he was raging. So
ah,
anybody that has lived with an abuser will understand what I'm talking about when I say he was raging. So he was raging. And he threw me on the chair and started pouncing, and I was like, "You should kill me! You will not, he should kill me today. Should we want to kill me? You should kill me today." Of course, I blocked my tummy, blocked my face, and he kept hitting. Then he stopped, and then walked away. And I said, no, we will continue today. Today,
ah. You
this
too
mind
now.
has scattered.
Hey,
This mind has scattered. It has scattered. This is the end. It has scattered. So immediately, of course, he knew that I would call. As I said, this mind has scattered. He knew that I was going to call somebody. So he practically picked his phone first and called his parents and started talking, shouting. Me, I left him at the gate for hours. I left him at
Is
the
it,
gate for hours.
did you, sorry to
But,
interrupt, did you try to analyze him if he's okay mentally?
of course, later on,
Ah, because
later on
even if
now,
someone left you at
after
the gate, ko yepo
looking
le
at
to
everything
ye.
that has happened, you realize that. Uh, so anybody on this call now that hears my story and has lived with an abuser will understand that it is usually like that. Any little thing can be any little thing will be blown out of proportion and will be the trigger. That may not be the why he's reacting, but that's what he will pick. The abuser will pick on and blow it out of proportion. So basically, he called it. His parents came. His parents came. Those ones were already saying, but already about to. Me, I already made up my mind that this was it. This happened on the 20th of September, 2015. I never forget. On the 19th of September, because the next day was my dad's birthday. On the 19th of September, 2015. And when they were done, of course, as usual, they say I should apologize. I apologized to him, but I knew that was the end. So like, if after 1920th, I don't even think I called my parents. I didn't call my parents. I didn't call anybody. I only spoke to my siblings because I didn't want a situation where, because I knew I was going to leave, and I didn't want a situation where I would leave and they'll, of course,
Find
start
out
saying
later. Yeah.
my parents that dragged me out of the marriage. So I wanted to completely keep them out of it. And I was just talking to my siblings. So we, on the 19th, on the 20th was a Sunday. We had moved from our parents' house. We were not going to begin. It was a Bible study, Bible study coordinator or something for the school, something in the church. And he went to church on that Sunday. We didn't go to church. He went to church, came back. On Monday, which was the 21st, on the 21st, he knew that, like, he suspected that I was going to leave. So on Monday, the 21st, he went to work and came back very early. As he came back like 12 noon that day. Of course, I knew that he was going to come back that day because he was suspecting. On Tuesday, which used to be they used to have meetings. They used to have meetings at his workplace, and I know that those meetings to extend to like 11 and to like 12, 1. So I had already planned that I would be leaving on Tuesday. So on Tuesday, as soon as he left, school bus had come to pick my son to school in the morning. He left for work. As soon as he left, I just told my nanny that she should pack some clothes, children's clothes, pack my clothes. I had already been talking to my sister, my sisters. So we organized a cab that waited for me, not even around my house. That waited for me like other inside town. So so as soon as we packed the clothes, I just backed my daughter, and that was how we left.
Wow.
So we left. I did not go home. I went to a friend's house. She used to stay in Abulegba area. So I went to a friend's house that day. From there, I went to pick my son from school, obviously. Then I went to a friend's house. So as I got to my friend's house, she had this. So we never used to have we never used to have mirror in our own house. She had this full mirror, like top to bottom. This very full mirror, full-length mirror. And I remember standing in front of that mirror, and I could not even recognize myself.
Yeah, wow.
And then I'm a slim person naturally, so you can imagine somebody who was also like going through depression and all of that. So I looked like an AIDS patient, like somebody who was quarter to die. And I didn't even have to start crying, but it was just that was the first time I was actually seeing myself, in full play. Anyway, so the plan was that I would send him a message. Like I'd even already drafted the message. So the plan was that after I leave, when I get to my friend's house, I would send him that message. But I forgot because I was lost in, me and my friends were talking. So he called around 3:34 and said, he called, I didn't pick. So he sent a message that my son's school said I came to pick the boy in the morning. So the message I had drafted, I just sent it to him and I picked up my phone. So of course, I don't know what happened, but later on I had heard gist that he called our pastor, that the pastor that joined us, so that pastor, told him that I'd left with children. So the pastor now called my dad, and my dad, of course, my dad did not know what was. My friends didn't know what was happening. I told my dad not to tell them anything, and that was how my dad went to their house, asking, "So where is their daughter? Where is his daughter? Where is his daughter? As in, where is his daughter? Why would you tell my daughter is missing? Where is his daughter?" And my dad, I'm just like my dad. He's also very quiet, gentle. He's always like voila. So, and of course, all of them, my mom was not around at the time. She had gone for work. So, being that my ex-husband, his parents, they were just there shouting, "We must bring our children back." They were just more concerned about the children. Bring our children back. Bring our children back. You don't care. Your daughter is an adult, but you must bring the children back. I'm like, that's not my dad.
Okay. Let me ask you this question, because someone asked this question, and we are actually running. We are running out of time already. Someone asked this question and said, "How was he to the children? How was he to his kids?"
How was it his kids? My son was 1 year and a few months when I left. My daughter was barely a month. So, I don't know what kind of relationship he would have with children and that. It was not anything.
So was he? So he wasn't abusive to them. It didn't extend to the kids.
My son had some liking. No.
Okay.
No, it wasn't abusive. We are still babies now. It wasn't abusive.
Okay. And how is he to them now after you left? Does he have access to them? Is he contributing to their welfare? Is he seeing them?
So after I left, nothing.
Okay, yeah, I see that look.
Nothing.
So he's not involved. He's not in their life. What about his parents that were shouting about their children?
Friends, family. No, nothing from them. Nothing from them. So we eventually went to court. He filed for a divorce. Okay, so I did not mention. So we were separated for a period of 3 years.
Wow.
We were separated for a period of 3 years, and of course, within the first 2 years of our separation, I used to do a lot of go to Ministry of Women Affairs, go and tell them that they should compel him to pay a monthly upkeep, welfare for the children. I used to do a lot of that. But of course, in Nigeria, you can't really enforce those kind of things except the court does. So it was a fruitless. He can decide to say he's not coming to the office and nothing will happen. They will not bundle him. They will not nothing except there's a court order. So that's what was happening. So it was a rush running around the circle. So by the third year, I decided that I was not going to do any of that. Let me focus on myself, on my my own finances, my income, on building my own income. And I did that, and I was doing fine. I mean, I was doing very well. So I don't know, the way the devil is funny. When he sees that okay, that's when you will now want to come and disrupt your life again. So by the third year, he someone that was not paying, he wasn't interested in school fees, he wasn't paying welfare, nothing. Now started paying. He paid just school fees for one term. That term, the term we started relating. We now started relating. He paid the term, and then he paid monthly upkeep. So it was now also that period that he's like, he wants us to
get back together.
Reconcile, come back together, and that, get back together. So I was thinking that, okay, maybe he has changed. I mean, someone that was not paying school fees, that was not paying welfare, now all of a sudden starts paying. Maybe he has changed, But one thing that he did not do, this is what I should have seen at the time, the mistake that I made, but I believe God has a plan for everything, was he did not apologize to my parents for all of the abuse that he even meted out on them. He did not do that. But I just thought, okay, with time we will then, I'm sure he will, I mean, if he really changed, he will come, he would eventually get to that point, and yeah, but my family, they were not in support of me going back. They're like, someone that cannot come and apologize, someone that is still standing on, obviously has not changed, But I went back.
Oh wow!
Because of another. Now I was also thinking, my kids had grown. My daughter was 3 years old. My son was 4. They did not know him. My daughter did not even know him. Did not know him. And those are things I was also looking at. That, okay, maybe that's an opportunity for them to also know their dad. So we reconciled.
I'm sorry, I have to interrupt. I just have to tell you. Someone said APC change. Like it's a scam.
It's a scam. So we reconciled in 2018, July 2018, and we went back together. At that time, we had moved to Ibadan, so we were all living in Ibadan. Things are fine, things are okay. The first month, second month, third month, by the fourth month, like this,
it started again.
Everything just started. Of course, the physical abuse was not.
Of course.
The physical abuse was not there. But of course, I know that if I had waited, I would have graduated physical abuse, but it wasn't there. But the verbal abuse, emotional abuse, oh my God. Emotional abuse is actually worse. It's actually worse than physical abuse. It was terrible.
It is.
The 9 months that we were together for 9 months. Usually by that 4th month, when things started to take a shift, I just knew that, this was it.
Big mistake.
So by the 9th month, February 2019, there was one case of physical abuse where he slapped me, and of course I did not allow that slap to land before I returned my own, and I warned him. Of course, as usual, he reported to his parents. I slapped him. Okay, I slapped him because he slapped me back. Because he slapped me, so I slapped you back, so that you will know that you cannot try this
Yes, nonsense with me again.
But social is different. It's different from, and then so in February 2019, in February 2019, I left with the children back to Lagos. He did not even know. He had no idea. There was no case of physical abuse when I was leaving. Nothing, no traces. He did not suspect a thing. I just took children and left. And that was what pushed him to file for it, because I'm sure he felt, this one is gone. There's no way I can trick her again. So, so.
Wow.
So that was it. I was saying something. I can't remember what I was. You asked me a question. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think I was asked a question about how it was with the kids, and that was how we got to where we are right now. So you said it doesn't take care of the kids. It's not involved in their lives.
So after I left.
Anyway, thank you.
Yeah, after I left the second time, it was the second.
Go on, you were saying something.
So it was after I left the second time that he knew that he was going to file for a divorce, so he started paying monthly upkeep.
Oh, the second time.
I don't want to say the amount, but it's not an amount that I didn't. Yeah, so he started paying monthly upkeep. So he paid it for some months before I got the petition, the divorce petition. And we were done in court now. We were done this year, February this year. And court ordered that he should be paying monthly money, and also be paying part of how we should be splitting their school fees 60-40. So he has been doing that. But as per have a relationship with the children, no.
Well, he's now financially responsible.
Them or anything.
Oh wow. Well, I'm sure the kids will be fine. The kids will be fine. But I hope it comes to his senses and at least make the effort to bring the life of his kids as in person, because that's a different thing entirely. Anyway, there are a lot of comments that came in, and I think we should be rounding up now, because I think we've been on this for more than an hour. And a lot of love and hugs from everybody online. They said they are happy you are okay now, and that you're doing very well now. So they are cheering you on. A lot of funny comments as well. Someone said he did not apologize to your parents, but you went back. How do you like your king? And then they came back to say, we can laugh about it now, but I'm sure it wasn't funny then. And someone said, never funny, so disheartening. Glad you're doing well. I'm so glad you're out of the bondage disguising itself as a marriage. A leopard. So a lot of comments came back, but we want to say thank you for sharing your experiences. And so before we go, just to round up, I'm just going to ask you, what advice would you give someone that is, and it saddens me to say this, but I've come to realize that most of this abuse is from supposedly brothers in Christ, because we can't shy away from the fact that we are Christians, and it's a disgrace when we have to go through something like this from someone that is supposed to be a child of God. And he abused you on Saturday, dressed up on Sunday, went to church to preach. Like, what is he preaching? And now someone might be in their kind of a position right now, like, in church, there's a brother in church that is showing you this kind of attitude while you're still courting, what advice would you give that kind of a person? What would you tell that person?
Okay, first things first. So one very major mistake that I made was to not invite God into the relationship at the time. Yes, we met in church, but even I myself, I wasn't so grounded. So I would advise, I mean, and that's where you're being grounded in the Word of God is how your relationship with the Holy Spirit builds. And I mean, person that as much as this person is a human being, there are still some. I mean, you are also a human being. You cannot know another person completely. It's only God that can do that.
Yeah.
And it will depend on the relationship that you have with God through the Holy Spirit that will reveal this person and then who this person is to you, not the pretense person, but who this person is to you. So, first thing first, before you even enter into a relationship, especially for our young folks, have a relationship with God, have a relationship with the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
Know how to hear Him when He speaks. Know how to discern. Second thing is to love yourself. Know what you want. If you do not, there's a saying that says, if you do not stand for something, you will fall for anything. For nothing. Yeah. So what are your values? What are your value systems? And knowing your values would, you will not get any Tom, Dick, and Harry from or any riffraff or somebody that is outside of your value system that will come to you and you will, but know your values and stick by them. Have some standards, some standard, godly standards. Have them. And of course, another thing is to don't get carried away by words. Yeah, words are just words. They tell you they love you, they this, but they're just words. What you should be looking at is actions. Do they match? Telling you he loves you, but he's acting this way. He's insulting you, calling you names. That's not love. God won't do that. So the words and the actions should match. Match. Anybody that says one thing and does another is a manipulator. Is basically manipulating you. So make sure that the words and the action
goes together.
They match. So then for those who are in it, I really do not. I don't like, because I've been there, so I know I do not like to advise victims of domestic violence to leave. So they say live to live. I don't like to do that. I would prefer that they get to that point by themselves and starting from a place of self-love, self-awareness, knowing who you are in Christ, knowing who you are in God. By the time all of this starts building up, you would know that there are some things that should not just be near your destiny. You would know, and you would take the decision yourself. And also be aware there's something called the narcissistic personality disorder. Also be aware, read up on that. What actually helped me, that what opened my eyes. The Holy Spirit directed me to that term. But I remember I heard it from someone, but I had to go. Now I remembered it, and then I went to go and start studying. It took me. I studied that thing for a whole week without sleeping, non-stop. A whole week, and it will give you clear-cut understanding on the kind of person you're dealing with, and understanding of the fact that like this they can't change like that. Except they have the Holy Spirit, they can't change. Yeah, so
right.
So that's the thing.
All right, thank you so much.
Another thing is to be let your family, your friends be aware of
what you're going
who
through.
you are dating. If you cannot see, they will see. Yeah. If
All
you
right.
actually are dating, I mean, if you are dating, if you cannot see, they will see. I
Yeah.
mean, if you are
A
blinded
third
by love,
eye.
they are not
A third
blinded by
eye
love,
will
so they
see.
will
A
see.
third eye
They
will
will see.
see.
So
Yeah.
let them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. There's events by Temi said, I thank God for your life. One other person said, I'm so glad you came out whole. Another person said, that's Bella Afro. I'm so glad you're out of the bondage disguising itself as marriage. So they are all saying, well done. Abby Oladele said, thank God for everything. It ended in praise. And please keep doing with your hard work. I'm just happy you got out alive. Somewhere in privilege too. So thank you so much. We need to round this up. Thank you so much, Tosin. Thank you, because it's like reliving an experience. And we know it was a struggle, because it's never easy to sit down and tell other people your pain, because I'm very sure it was not a funny experience to you then. We are glad you are at a place where you can sit down and talk about it and share it and teach people the lessons you learned from it. We appreciate your time. Thank you so much. If love don't blind your own eyes, they will see what's going on. Someone was saying something about a third party checking in. And I'm just going to round up with this. Tosin has at least said the things, giving some advice for our young upcoming people, someone that is in a relationship, and if in as much as we don't want to keep coming back to topics like this or sharing stories like this, it's happening. And I'm just going to say some things to our brothers in Christ. Can we please try and do better? Because where else can we get husbands from? I mean, should we be going to garages or beer parlors? I think someone said something like that should we go to beer parlors or go to the street, or where do you want us to be getting husbands from? If the people we think are children of God end up treating us in a very unsavory way. I mean, it's the church, for Christ's sake. That used to be a safe haven. That used to be where we run to hide. And if we cannot run to church to see someone to say, okay, this is my bone of bone, but then that bone turns out to be a thorn in our flesh, I mean, what do we do? How do we go about it? And they are saying, don't go clubbing, don't do this, don't do that, don't meet someone on social media. But then the church where you think you will run to get someone end up being like, I don't know. It's a sad thing, but we thank and bless God for you. Thank you once again. And for anyone going through this struggle, like she said, speak up, talk to people. I actually like what she said. She said she's never going to tell you to live to live, like they always say. That has to be a personal decision. Because there was one other story I saw where the sister is like, we keep going back to take her sister, but when we take her, she runs, get a phone, send a message to her husband, and then they make up, and then the next thing is she says she's going back to her husband. And so the sister was like, she's tired. So it's a personal thing. Nobody can make anybody leave. I just don't want you to get to a place where you're not able to leave. I hope you know what I mean. But we'll keep you all in our prayers. God will help you. God will strengthen you. Prayers is very important. Keep praying. Keep praying. But I advise people that are in physical abuse, especially if you're in a physical abuse relationship, you can pray from afar. You can pray from afar, but it's your decision. It's a personal thing. God will help you all. Thank you all so much. Thank you all for joining in, for tuning in. So we have 3 winners for today. Ami, you really, I saw all your comments. She actually said, I'm just happy you got out alive. Somewhere in privilege too. She sent that, and then she said something that made me laugh. She said, Solomon had the sweetest words. Go and check Songs of Solomon. But last, so she came in today, hot. So thank you. And our first winner is Amelume. The second is, I think, Tiana and Esther Queen. So we have 3 winners today. Amelume, Esther Queen, and Tiana. Thank you all for making the platform interesting, because I saw your back and forth. It's just that I really do not have time to be going back there. Thank you once again, Tosin, for tuning in. Thank you for sharing a part of your journey with us, because it all builds up to be experiences that shapes you into who you are today and who you'll be tomorrow. So thank you all so much. We'll see you next week. My name is still Odun Akirele, and I will come your way next week with viewpoints. Okay, I need you all to tune in next week, because next week is going to be interesting. We're having viewpoints, and the topic is actually gender roles and feminism. Laida is going to take us through some questions, some gist, and some talk on gender roles, because I know feminism is going all around now. What does feminism mean? Is it what we Nigerian women actually think feminism means? Because I know we all have different meanings for it. So I'll see you next week on Viewpoint, not Real Talk. Real Talk is not coming up. I think the next episode of Real Talk is the 13th. All right. Thank you all for joining. Thank you, and God bless you all. See you next time. Bye. Tosin, are you still there? Oh, she's gone.